Hello, my name is Zaina Aklu. Throughout this course, I have learned a lot about myself, about the way I speak, and I've learned many new ways to develop my interpersonal communication skills. In week 1, we read 13 guiding principles, which were to be followed throughout class. I took one that meant the most to me and really tried to apply it to my life. That was to avoid judgment. As someone who is growing as a person, I feel like judgment keeps you from a lot of truth and it blocks your mind from learning new things. In week 5, we discussed emotional intelligence and conflicts. We reflected on how attributional errors can influence our conflicts. Reading this chapter made me realize that I was the problem in most of my conflicts. We had to describe a recent conflict that we had, and it brought me to the thought, and I'm still working on it, but I was the type of person to be biased in an argument and not really listen to the other person's side. And I would have this bias and it would just make me more angrier, and I'm not communicating to anyone, so it's not making the situation any better. This was a very negative thing on my part, but being in this class made me realize the toxicity of it and to my relationships. I also started having more face-to-face conflicts rather on the phone, because I read that face-to-face conflicts can be resolved easier because you can see the nonverbal communication rather than trying to interpret it over the phone. I'm used to arguing over text because when I'm angry, I really don't want to see anyone, but I realized that face-to-face confrontations are so much more easier. In week 6, we learned more about active listening. There are many stages of the listening process, which is hearing, understanding, interpreting, evaluating, remembering, and responding. We learned about different listening styles. This interests me because I found out that I am an action-oriented listener. This means that I like focused and organized information to quickly make decisions and plot a course of action. I relate to this because most of my interactions happen either at school or at work, so I always try and keep a strong head on, and it's very helpful to be prepared. In conclusion, the interpersonal communications course really opened up my eyes. It introduced me to new principles and values, which I intend to make stick. Working with everyone has been enlightening as well, to read how others may have interpreted information we learned throughout the course. Thank you and have a great summer.